everybody. Welcome to Squad Pod Sports. We're bringing our thoughts on the latest games and sports news around the sports world, brought to you by Sideline Sports Network. First real week without football, it's got us fiending. We want some more. So, I mean, we do have some football to talk about. It was your idea to, talk about what surprised us the most out of this past season.
Yep.
So we'll be talking about that. Of course, some other NFL news that's been happening, over the past week or so. And a lot of NBA talk as well. We had the Allstar break that happened this past weekend.
Amazing.
Of course.
One of my favorite parts about the NBA weekend here is all the videos that have been coming out about just cell phone cameras of Michael Jordan dapping up Magic Johnson and laughing, and I love it. So I can't wait to get into that type of talk there.
Yeah, and of course your NBA hot and not, all the other news that we have, of course. We'll have a little bit of NHL talk since it's the off, break from football. We got to, talk about the NHL a little bit. We're kind of in the second half of the season, going into the playoffs here soon. So bringing some hockey back into the program. And of course the bias bubble, crazy sports stat back to the podcast. But as far as NFL, Vern, you did have an idea this week about talking about the moments that surprised us the most from this past season, because this was a crazy season.
It was an amazing season, but a very crazy one, like you said. So, and I was just kind of reading some things today, and I scrolled upon this, and it was super surprising to me. So that's why I even wanted to bring this to. I was like, hey, find a football thing that surprised you most this year. And so my most surprising thing about this 2021-2022 season is the fact that there was only seven 1,000-yard rushers. That's it.
Really?
This was the lowest amount since 2015. Okay.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. So this is what, from the article that it's a CBS article that I was reading, but despite the continued reliance on passing the ball, the NFL's expanded season would draw the assumption that there would be a spike in 1,000-yard rushers. That's typical. Yeah, extra game, you should be able to get more yards. You would have more 1,000-yard rushers. Okay. And there was all these articles about people they're going to break Eric Dickerson's 2,000-yard record like nothing, just everything because you got the extra game. But instead of a running resurgence, the NFL experienced a dip in 1,000-yard rushers this past season. Only 7 players managed to reach the 1,000-yard barrier, the lowest such total since 2015. And that's not including seasons impacted by strikes, like things like lockout seasons, things like that.
Yeah.
But it was actually the fewest since 1974.
Wow.
So it's not even just last 10 years or 50. That was the fewest since 1974.
Shows you that it's a passing league.
Right.
And I wonder what that's attributed to. If it's just injuries, or if maybe because of the extra game, if maybe coaches kind of didn't play these running backs nearly as much. Injuries
are one of the reasons. Okay, so Derrick Henry ended up with 937 yards on 8 games.
Yeah, he was out for a while.
Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara, Elijah Mitchell all got hurt, who would typically be 1,000-yard rushers there. But apparently it's also due to what you're saying there, the workload. You have people like Tony Pollard, who didn't break the 1,000-yard barrier until his final carry of the season. Then you have Aaron Jones with the tandem, who only had 799, where AJ Dillon had 802. So together they were well over 1,000 yards, but that's the biggest reason right there, is with the extra game, you're most likely going to have 2 running backs touching the ball a lot more, so it's...
Yeah, and I was going to mention, you mentioned that, I was thinking it, but you see a lot more tandems now than I feel like you used to. I mean, you would see a couple teams that would normally run it, but I feel you see a lot more teams nowadays using running back tandems, because you have to keep your star running back healthy at this point.
Exactly.
Or try to make it through a season without him getting hurt.
It was very surprising to me. That was definitely the most surprising thing overall. And like I said, I saw that, I was like, wow, the fewest since 1974. Man,
I don't know how I'm going to top that. I mean, I had a couple things here I listed. Number one, I had just the Bengals playoff run and going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that was one of the things that surprised me the most.
Definitely surprising, man. That was surprising to everybody, for sure.
I mean, it's not like they just rolled over and died in the Super Bowl or anything. They were in it You know, they almost won the Super Bowl, and that's so crazy. You know, in Joe Burrow's second year, this kind of hodgepodge team they just kind of built in a year and a half, 2 years. Who knows what it's going to be like going forward? But the second thing I had here, and we've talked about it a lot on the show, was the Cardinals' downfall. That's what's one of the things that surprised me the most as well. And I had here the Cardinals. They started 8-1, and then they went on to finish 3-5, and then they had that terrible first round loss in the first, you know. So that the Cardinals, they had so much promise, and then, you know, DeAndre Hopkins gets hurt. Kyler Murray is just not the same after that. Then he gets hurt for a little bit. And, you know, it's so weird. There's just a couple years now where they're just so wishy-washy, and they had just when you think they had it figured out this year, you know, all that happens. And now you get like Kyler's not motivated, or like he's not a leader, or he's like he's not mature enough. And like
usually at this point we'd be like, yeah, they're getting better. This is another good step in the right direction. The downfall, that crash was bad, but this was a step in the right direction. But now with all this drama that we have, that's the type of talk we have in the offseason is like, are they even going to be able to match what they were last year? You know, so that was definitely surprising. Absolutely, man. Those are two good ones for sure. The Bengals and the Bengals' success and the Cardinals' success and then downfall. Just that was very surprising because we thought we had it on the board, man. We thought the Cardinals were going to the Super Bowl. We thought they were all in, man. They were killing it.
And that was like an instant lock every week when we were making our picks.
Right.
No matter who the Cardinals are playing.
Didn't matter. Kyler Murray was playing like MVP. I know we were like calling him early season MVP and things like that. So that was good. Awesome. Those are two good ones for sure.
Yeah. Did you have any more?
Nope.
That you could think of?
I just had that. If I think off the top of my head here, the most surprising would probably be the Bengals. Like that's really what.
Bengals.
Like the beginning of the year, you would have told me the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl with the Steelers and the Ravens and the Browns, who preseason were supposed to be a lot better than they were this year. I would have been like, man, they're going to finish fourth in that division. Get out of here. They're not even going to...
Joe Burrow going to get killed behind that O-line.
We were talking about that, too, right after Jamar Chase, you know, got drafted. We're like, oh, great. Now they didn't use it on an O-line, so there's no way I would have thought the Bengals were going. So that was definitely probably the most surprising thing of the year was the Bengals going to the Super Bowl, where the Rams were built for it, you know.
And of course I had, you know, this kind of not during the season, but of course Brady retiring is another surprise that, you know, a lot of people didn't expect. And the other thing I had here was just kind of just a general thought was there really were no standout elite teams this year. Yeah. You know, it seemed like there was a couple of teams that had, you know, little stretch runs here and there, but there was no like super dominant team throughout the course of the whole season. You know, it didn't seem like there was any elite teams. And that's how you kind of saw the path to the Super Bowl when, you know, the Bengals got there and stuff. We talked about it going into the playoffs. This is anybody's game at this point. You know, anybody can make it, and it seemed like it was that way through the course of the whole season, where anybody can win this game. I mean, you were seeing. We didn't expect the Lions to get any wins. They got a couple dubs. Jaguars got a couple dubs against some good teams. So I mean, it's so weird.
That's one thing I preach to Kyrie, because he'll like I'm guilty of it. I'm like, oh, they suck. They're terrible. You know, I say things like that about a team like the Jaguars or something. But like while I'm talking about football with him, sometimes he'll be just like, who do you think's gonna win this week? Blah blah blah. You know, he'll be like, oh, there's no way they could win it. I'm like, there's no bad teams in the NFL. You know, like that's what I tell him, because that's
why I'd be out
saying,
here,
you know, like,
stressing. No matter who the Eagles play, like it could be like the Jets or the Jaguars, or whatever. Like we gonna mess around and lose these Jaguars or these Jets. Like
still 32 or you know, what is it? I don't know, like 54, however many is on the roster. Like they're NFL players, you know, they're getting paid millions of dollars too. Like there might be a conglomerate, less talented, I guess, maybe, in your opinion. It just, that's what I try to think objectively. Like there are no bad NFL teams, you know. So, and this was a great year.
They're all in the NFL all these players are in the NFL for a reason. You know, they're the best of the best.
But this was a great year of that example right there.
Exactly, and I'm kind of hoping it's like that next year. Just to, you know, I love the mix-up. You know, just same with the NBA. I like seeing like teams that, you know, you normally don't see in the finals or, you know, making a run in the playoffs. I love to see that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's cool to see as the season goes, everybody's jockeying for position. You know,
exactly. Yeah. Like they're trying to keep someone from getting into the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I like about towards the end of the NFL season is like, oh, if this team wins, it'll knock this team out, or like this team needs to beat this team and this team needs to lose to this team. Like I love that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have I have some NFL news here. Jarvis Landry made a statement today on Twitter stating that like he came back way too early from injury. His exact quote here, he said, "I got hurt in week 2 with a high-grade MCL sprain, partial quad tear, and bone bruise. Then came back way too early, ended up staying hurt the entire season." And then he says, "I have put the ball in Cleveland's court by telling them I would like to stay, but if not, then I'm confident enough in myself to be a better, healthy me this year and move forward to helping do my part in winning a championship elsewhere." So at this point, he's like, hey, I want to be in Cleveland, but hey, I'm cool with leaving.
You're like, whatever you want to do, man. You just let me know. I'm going to be over here chilling.
I'm ready, pretty much.
That's cool, man. I mean, like, I wish the best for Jarvis Landry. I didn't like him when he was in Miami, but I always liked I liked him. Like, Jarvis Landry has always been a cool player, but I hope he goes somewhere nice, man. That's cool. I hope he doesn't, like, fizzle out in Cleveland. That's what I don't want to see. Especially if they're not good.
Either. And that was going to be my next point is like, who knows what Cleveland's going to be this coming year, man. They looked terrible. They did rack up a decent win total, but I mean, Baker's just getting slaughtered everywhere, like by the media, by like fans on social media.
And by defenders.
There's a lot of rumors about them trying to, like, Browns just aren't sold on them and try to maybe move on from them here sooner rather than later.
They're going to do some Browns shit,
Yeah, so who knows what's going to happen with them same old Brownies.
Yep.
And other news, San Francisco 49ers are rumored to kick the tires on getting Marcus Mariota.
As a backup?
They didn't say.
Why? That's so interesting. Okay.
I have no clue. And as of today, the franchise tag window opened up.
Yep.
So teams can, put in franchise tags. Notable players that are eligible for franchise tags: Devontae Adams for the Packers, Patriots cornerback J.C. Jackson.
Yep.
Chiefs
That's why
left
I wore
tackle
this today.
Orlando Brown.
Because it's Gilly. Gilly. We lost him, but he's a cornerback, and we need to make sure we franchise tag this cornerback. So that's literally why I wear this.
Jackson, he's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs left tackle Orlando Brown, and Cardinals Chandler Jones, linebacker.
I would like Chandler Jones to have a reunion in New England as well.
So who knows what's going to happen there, man? And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we'll just talk about him now. He posted a late night cryptic message on Twitter, kind of just like thanking the players that he's played with this season, as well as his past players that he's played with. Thanking I think it was his fiance Shanae Woodley and some other like the coaching staff and the owners and all this. And it was just very cryptic, how Aaron Rodgers is.
Right.
So it kind of made you think like, oh, is this like a retirement message? What's going on? He went on McAfee today, and there's still no decision.
He's like, oh, no, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Haven't made a decision yet.
Like, what was that message about last night? Like, yeah, Monday gratification.
Monday gratification.
Just, happy.
This dude,
happy for these people.
Drunk last night, and he's like, man, I love my friends. I love the team I've with.
He's just looking at old pictures. That's probably what he was doing.
It was just a drunk post last night. He's like, shit, I gotta go on and explain this.
I think Aaron Rodgers plays football in 2022. I don't know where. I don't think he retires. That's just where
I think it's for the Packers. I think he's just gonna come back.
I don't know. I don't know where he plays. I think like 98% chance he plays football next year.
I think he does too. And I don't think he's leaving. I think
Two
he's staying.
Straight MVPs, man. This dude.
Yeah. And like we just mentioned, I think they're probably going to franchise tag Devontae.
Yep.
That way they don't have to give him the bag right now.
They can give Aaron Rodgers $50 million.
Exactly. Run it back another year. Just give him like a 1-year deal or whatever, and then see what happens next year. And then we'll still be talking about pretty much everything we talked about this season with Aaron Rodgers.
And Devontae.
Continued next year. And then we'll be in the same spot this next offseason. Just like, what's Aaron Rodgers going to do? Is he going to stay in Green Bay? Is he going to retire? Go somewhere else?
Oh, God. Yeah, we'll see. But I think he stays too. I just don't. I don't know. I'm not as sure on that as I am that he's gonna be playing football.
Yeah. And this was actually it wasn't huge news, but it was kind of a big deal. But there was agents representing more than 150 draft prospects that were organizing a boycott of the combine here coming up because they wanted to do it in a bubble and they really didn't want anybody going anywhere. They wanted to have a lot of restrictions for COVID and everything. And apparently, as of today, the combine just informed players it has changed its policy and will now allow them outside of restricted areas next week in Indianapolis. Cool. So pretty much they gave in and they're like, all right, fine.
Cool. They got what they wanted. That's why people protest. Right there. That's why people protest, because it creates change. You know what I mean? Like, it's something as simple as that. Like, they weren't comfortable. Like, yo, come on now. Like, there's so many people that are probably high risk, and maybe not high risk, but like, there's people that have certain pre-existing medical conditions that are super sensitive to that type of thing. So,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm cool with that. Like, they won. They won. The people won. They got what they wanted.
They won. It was like a week from now. They're like, shit, we got to make a decision soon. Like, we'll let them do whatever they want. We don't care.
Just like, got to pay extra NFL scouts to go out and like, just whatever. Like, they're just like, whatever, man. $1 billion company. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm sure the NFL will be fine.
They budged on that, but they wouldn't budge on the Colin Kaepernick workout. Interesting. We won't go there right now, though.
We have a former Patriot in the news here. Arizona Cardinals released cornerback Malcolm Butler from the reserve retired list. Apparently, he's gonna be a free agent now if he decides to keep playing. Apparently, there's rumors that he may just retire.
He's a Titan to me. I'm just kidding. No. He's he's a Super Bowl hero. But
yeah, I was gonna say that's Super Bowl
he's a Super Bowl hero. I have an image burned in my head of him crying as he's like leaving the sideline. You know what I mean? Because he just made that, like, he's so overwhelmed with emotions he's crying. So I wish the best for him. I hope he retires, because I mean, he's already left for 2 teams, but like, go ahead, just retire, man. You made your money, you're famous. Like, only thing that could happen now is maybe win another chip or something, or get injured. So go ahead and retire.
Yeah. And you did mention Tennessee, which goes into my next story here. Apparently, the Tennessee Titans are exploring a new stadium. They were in talks to have the Nashville stadium expanded, but they were giving like an estimate of like $600 million, and they're like, nah, we're good, or whatever. Like, like apparently was the stadium price was unexpectedly high, and there's like, no, we'll find something else, or we'll build something, whatever.
Yeah.
But the Tennessee Titans are looking for a new stadium as of right now.
Yeah, because if you're gonna spend that much money renovating it, you might as well just build a new one for double the amount. You know, I mean, it's crazy when you're thinking about it. It's millions and millions or billions of dollars, but it's really an asset. So if you're that team, it makes a ton of more sense to spend whatever you need to on a brand new stadium and see, you know, like Los Angeles or like LA. Imagine they get a dome. If they get a dome, you could potentially have a Super Bowl up there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I mean, especially for a team that, you know, it's been kind of hot here the past couple of years. You know, they'll probably make that money back.
Yeah, exactly.
Big news here. Bryant Flores was hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers as he's a senior defensive assistant coach and linebackers coach.
Yep. Mike Tomlin was like, come on, man. Come on in. We got you over here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got you. I'm so glad that he got hired by Pittsburgh, because, like, I feel like that's great. Awesome. You know, if he didn't get a head coaching job, at least he still got a job in the NFL, you know?
Yeah. And I saw I saw it today that apparently he refused to sign like an NDA with the Dolphins because he wanted to pursue like the legal action and everything.
Right. Apparently he forfeited the rest of his contract by not signing it, you know, and he's just like, it is what it is, you know. I didn't realize that this was even a thing. You know, when coaches get fired while they're under contract, they have to sign this to get the money that they do, you know, so it's weird. I didn't even know this existed.
And they can't be like going out there trashing the team and everything.
Right, for at least the duration of the NDA type of thing, you know, but that's very interesting.
Melvin Gordon, who's on the Broncos, is going to be a free agent this offseason, and he plans to test free agency. Like, he doesn't he's planning to try to get another job somewhere else.
Yeah, makes sense. He's an aging back though.
Yeah. The XFL and the NFL have reached a collaboration agreement to innovate together on game rules, officiating, health and safety, among other areas.
Yep.
XFL chairwoman owner Danny Garcia made clear this deal is not a precursor to becoming an NFL developmental league as of yet.
Exactly. They're more of a petri dish is how they described it.
Yeah, kind of testing some stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
They need to start looking at them cameras and stuff, like the little Xbox controllers they were using to kind of rewind the game and actually look at, like, fouls and flags and different stuff.
Yeah.
So I hope they bring that into the NFL so they can really see what's going on.
There's a ton of potential here for a lot of changes that we could see in real time before they get put on the big stage. So I think it's a great idea.
I think it is as well.
And there's gonna be people, if you're balling in the XFL, some NFL team's going to end up signing you eventually. So,
it's already happened after the XFL, this last time.
Exactly. It's not a developmental league,
officially, but it is.
Every amateur football league out there.
Because then you're going to be seeing all these undrafted people, like guys coming out of college and stuff, or out of high school maybe, going and playing in the XFL, ball out, and then get a contract.
It's probably going to be pretty good football too. And maybe like 3-4 years down the line, when it's reputable and they have talent coming to try to use that as an avenue to the NFL. So yeah, I think it's great. Hope it survives, man.
Yeah, I hope they make it long enough that way they can be a developmental league for the NFL, because then I think that's going to be perfect for the XFL. Right. I feel like if they're not affiliated with the NFL in any way, that's when they're maybe a year or two, and then they kind of sputter out and they disband like they have a couple times already.
If they're successful, 10 years from now, we'll be reporting on the NFL has just purchased the XFL. You know what I mean? Like things like that, like where they're strictly gonna be able to use that as a minor league.
And then we get to talk about 2 football leagues on the show.
And it's going to be all year round.
Year round, and it'll be amazing. And that's what they should do. Put the XFL in the offseason of the NFL. Why
not? Why not, man? Come on, 6 months.
That way it is football year round.
Right.
And I only have a couple of other things here. Veteran NFL safety Ricardo Allen announced he's retiring from the NFL after 8 seasons. Mm-hmm. He's a former 5th-round pick with the Falcons, spent 7 years in Atlanta, and then this past season in Cincinnati.
Okay. Congratulations on his career.
Last thing I have here also is the Houston Texans are expected to move on from Brandon Cooks and Laramie Tunsil due to contract situations.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Brandon Cooks had a quietly good year. He wasn't injured like he normally has been past couple of years. He put up some decent numbers.
He's kind of like Melvin Gordon to me, where he's an aging receiver where we'll see. He's still probably going to get a job next year, but I don't know how much he'll be able to contribute.
It's like a 2 or 3.
But Laramie Tunsil, that's interesting.
That's a big name.
That is pretty interesting. So I would like to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of, I wouldn't say necessarily huge names, but I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of big names, get traded or, maybe released, just because there's a lot of teams that are in cap trouble.
Yeah.
Especially like the Saints, who are like 70 mil under the cap, over the cap. So, they're going to be seeing a lot of teams, a couple, I would say maybe like 5 or 6 teams that are in cap trouble that are maybe you have to release some top talent.
We'll bring back our segment from last year, cap casualties. You know what I'm saying?
Cap casualty. We'll seeing a lot. We'll probably see a lot more of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the last bit of NFL news. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add here, Ver.
The only thing that I had extra, was the XFL thing, and you hit it there, so that's perfect.
Oh, okay. I think we can kind of hit on this. I did have the draft order for this coming up draft. We can just go over like the official top 10 here. We got the Jaguars, the Lions, Texans, the Jets, the Giants, the Panthers. The Giants have the 7th pick there. Atlanta, the Broncos, and then you got the Jets again. So you got like New York,
bums.
And you got the Jets 2 picks in the top 10.
You're telling me that New York has 4 picks in the first round of the draft?
No, they got 2.
New York Jets and New York Giants both got 2, right?
Oh yeah, New York, yeah.
The city of New York got 4 picks.
They got 4 picks in the top 10.
And the top 10. Take an L, okay? Like, that's maybe you get some talent with that, but like, this is not a good year for quarterbacks, so don't even think about getting a quarterback in the first round, especially with a top 10 pick. You can scoop. Maybe these quarterbacks develop into something down the line, but none of them are worth a first rounder this year. It might be the first time in a long time where they don't draft a quarterback first round. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jets. You know, I think they're sticking with Zach Wilson. But yeah, the Giants. Yeah. They're stuck with Danny Jones unless they try to trade for someone.
Exactly, man. So good luck to all those teams in the top 10. Good luck.
And I see your Patriots got the 21st pick there.
Mm-hmm.
My Birds got the 15th, 16th, and 19th.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Draft,
you guys got 3.
It's gonna be interesting.
That's crazy, man.
I would maybe expect maybe one of those picks gets traded out for next year, possibly a first rounder for next year, and maybe who knows, whatever they're looking at, maybe they can go up a spot or two. I have no clue what they're looking at. You know, hopefully no QBs.
Mm-hmm.
But we can roll right into NBA talk here. First up, who's on your hot and not list?
So the hot and not list doesn't really differ too much from last week. It does
because of the little break.
There were some games played since our last podcast, so it does change. There are some teams that were at the top that are no longer even on it, you know. So, but I have from my hot list, familiar face, Phoenix. They're tearing it up. They're going to be on this list all year probably. There's only 20-some games left. They're probably going to be, not only a 1 seed, but they might even be in the finals again. We'll get to predictions later on in the year. But Chi-Town, number 2, okay? They're on a 5-game winning streak, 7-3 over the last 10. Killing it going into the All-Star break there. Portland was doing all right there. 4-game winning streak, 4-6 over the last 10. So not the hottest, but they're 4-game streak there. So they're trying.
Yeah.
Denver at 6-4 over the last 10. They're on a 3-game streak. And then I have an honorable mention here. Boston, who was number 1 last week, they're 9-1 over the last 10. They're just on a 1-game losing streak here going into that All-Star week.
Boston has really been impressing lately.
Yeah, they've been great since the turn of the new year, man. Since 2022 here, they've been great.
They really kind of figured it out.
Yeah. And then for my not list, okay, Houston, number 1. Terrible every week, no matter what. Every week.
Houston.
7-game losing streak. I don't even understand. Like, they be racking up these losing streaks quick as shit.
So
you know,
fast.
It's just like, damn. 7-game losing streak. Okay, 1-9 over the last 10. Orlando, who was on this list last week, 4-game losing streak, 3-7 over the last 10. New York Knicks aren't doing hot right now. They're on a 3-game losing streak, 2-8. Over the last 10, and then bing bong, you suck again. And then Charlotte, who was great at the beginning of the year, they're on a 3-game losing streak right now, 1-9 over the last 10 games. So it's not even this
Charlotte has looked very bad.
I don't know what happened, man. I know they're dealing with some injuries, but geez, like,
Michael Jordan pissed.
Michael Jordan's ignored it right now.
He had to be happy. He was happy seeing his buddies and everybody at the All-Star game, but otherwise he's pissed.
Yeah, he's real mad. But that's all I had here for the hot not list. But speaking of the All-Star game, what a game. You know, that was the best part of the weekend was the All-Star game. The rest of it sucked, man. I don't know about you, but this dunk contest was terrible.
Terrible. One of the worst dunk contests ever, man.
2 years in a row now, we haven't had a perfect 50. We haven't had a perfect dunk in 2 years. Like, what do you mean? So it's just, they need to do something because the 3-point contest has definitely hopped over that. With I care more about the 3-point contest now, and you had a big man win it. You know, so like I don't know what the hell is going on with the pre-All-Star game weekend there, but the All-Star game weekend the All-Star game itself was awesome. Seeing the projected score, like the final score to win and everything, and LeBron hitting the game winner. Steph dropping
50.
He went
the All-Star game.
He was shooting shots and turning around and not even watching it, doing shimmies as it's going in the hoop and just doing whatever he could do. Like, he was in God mode last night or Sunday night, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, and he had a record 16 3-pointers, which was absolutely nuts.
that's the type of record. It'll probably be broken eventually, but like that's something he needs to have. Like I would love for him to set that so high that nobody could touch it, type of thing.
They were saying that like that was the thing he was missing. He didn't have an All-Star MVP game.
Now
so I mean, he ended up getting it.
He's like, hey, I'll go off for 50 if I need to, whatever. I'm used to putting up a lot of points in Cleveland, you know.
Did you see that video? Like you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, like it was so cool seeing like the behind the scenes videos or like, you know, all these stars interacting with each other. There was a video. I don't know if you saw it. It was, I think it was Rudy Gobert? No, it was Jojic, and he keeps every time he sees Luka, he throws this bouncy ball at him. Like he's walking around bouncing this ball, and every time he sees Luka, he throws this ball at him in the middle of interviews, or they're like at a media day walking around. You just see this ball like hit him, and then you just see Jojic across like the room or whatever. It was pretty funny.
No, that's hilarious. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, and then there's cool videos like Michael Jordan walk around like messing with Luka, and then he says he wants to challenge Magic Johnson the one-on-one during the All-Star game. I said that on Twitter. I was like, this would have been more interesting than the dunk contest.
Yeah,
I would have watched that.
I would have paid to watch that.
But it is pretty cool. There's they actually showed it on the broadcast. It was like behind the scenes in the locker room, and you saw, I think it was Bron's team, but they were playing poker in the locker room.
Just chilling. Cool. Like it's good vibes all weekend, and I love it, you know. And the NBA it's one of the biggest like things that people say is wrong with the NBA, but like they're a brotherhood more than ever now, you know.
It really is.
There really isn't a bad boys Pistons team out there where it's just us against the world type of situation. Like every NBA player, for the most part, even the ones that when they're on the court they're fighting, when they're together they're all buddies, you know, which it's awesome to see, man. It's awesome to see all smiles all weekend. It
is really cool, but it's worrisome because then you're thinking like all these dudes trying to like connive to get like
they are
come on over my team, man, you know, don't worry about
that's like, exactly what's happening.
Don't lure my dude over to your team. Come on, don't do it.
That's exactly what goes on, man. But tampering don't mean nothing. They don't care about them rules.
But yeah, there was another video. It was pretty funny. It was just like all the Cavs fans booing Draymond Green. He was sitting there and he was just like, "Come on, give me your booze," and he's like laughing. It was pretty funty.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so cool.
You had Team Cavs. They won the Taco Bell Skill Challenge. Obi Toppin won the slam dunk contest. Karl Anthony Towns won the 3-point contest. Zach LaVine had like a better dunk in the All-Star game than any of the dunk contest dunks, man. He had like that 360 dunk.
Exactly. He should have done it again, man. He definitely would have won.
He would have for the third time. That would have been awesome. I don't know why he didn't. He decided to just do the 3-pointer contest this year, and he got eliminated first. BS. But it was cool to see him and like Demar playing against each other in the All-Star game. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And other news here, Denver Nuggets are signing DeMarcus Cousins for the rest of the season. They're going to keep him on the roster. Goran Dragic had the buyout, and he officially signed with the Brooklyn Nets here. Apparently, Steve Nash was very instrumental in that. Like he was the one that
gonna get him, man. I thought we had a chance. I really did, and that
I thought the Bulls had a chance too, man.
Huge for us, but he just goes to the Nets and makes the Nets even better. You know, with losing James Harden there you have Ben Simmons now, Steph Curry. Goran, like that's great, and whenever KD gets back, they're going to be great.
Yeah, and speaking of that, apparently Ben Simmons is going to be practicing here this coming week, and they're looking to get him playing here next week.
Yeah,
after the week after that, so it's looking like he's going to be playing here this year.
Yeah, by the end of the season, it took all the way till after the All-Star break, but he'll be on the court.
This was announced before the All-Star game, but Sun star Chris Paul suffered a right thumb fracture, and he's going to be reevaluated in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
which is like right going into the playoffs.
That's
like right
at the end of the season. Long time, man.
And what's crazy is after that was announced, he went and played in the All-Star game for a couple minutes. Like he played in the All-Star game with a thumb fracture.
He's like, damn, I told you to announce that tomorrow. I told you to announce it on Monday. What? Come on now, like. But speaking of Chris Paul, he won the Kobe and Gigi Award which is like an award for people that are huge advocates for the WNBA and any type of women's basketball, things like that. So I thought that was awesome. You know, they named another award after him, but it's the Kobe and Gigi Bryant WNBA Advocacy Award. But Chris Paul was the first inaugural winner of that, and I thought that was awesome.
That is awesome. Adam Silver said there is no in-season tournament introduced by the NBA next season, but he says that the league is continuing to actively pursue adding it to the calendar eventually.
I would love it, man.
An in-season tournament.
I can't wait until it happens. We talk about it all the time. Every time they bring it up, like we salivate at the mouth. Like that sounds like such a cool idea.
Yep, and I think that would be kind of cool. You know, I mean, they kind of implemented the little play-in tournament, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do with like an in-season tournament, how that's going to work.
Right, exactly. I'm glad the play-in tournament was here to stay as well. This was actually made a lot of news. Your boy Braun had a little interview here talking about that the door's not closed on a potential return to Cleveland. And pretty much stated that no matter what, he's playing with his son before he retires. So whoever drafts his kid is getting LeBron James as well. You getting 2 for 1. He is being a good dad right now because he is assuring that Bronny goes number 1 overall. No matter who's got the selection, no matter who needs him, they're going to pick Bronny so LeBron James comes to their team.
Oh, yeah.
39-year-old LeBron James, they don't care, you know. And
you go see a team that would be maybe normally good, maybe tanking into that year. That maybe Bronny might be going into the draft.
Exactly. They're like, damn, we need to get Bronny. You know, it's going to be a lot of bad teams that year. A lot of terrible records. Coincidentally, you know, but that's 2024. So we'll see what happens. That's only 2 years away, man. So we only have Bron for 2 more years. Man.
What if the Charlotte Hornets draft him? And then LeBron goes to play for Michael Jordan.
That'd be awesome.
On the Hornets.
That'd be
crazy.
That'd be awesome. And you know, like he said, money's not an issue. I'll sign for the vet minimum type of thing.
Exactly.
So,
he just wants to play with his kid before he retires.
Oh man, any team in the league has the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. Oh man, that's going to be interesting here down the line.
Imagine him on like Boston or something interesting like that. Because he fought with Boston for years, you know, in the playoffs. I
guarantee it's going to be some team that's going to be so weird seeing LeBron play for.
Like Indiana,
it's going to be so odd.
Or Toronto, or like
Trailblazers or something.
Something super weird. The Pistons, you know.
My God.
Hey, we'll see. I'm excited.
The Rockets.
Cool. I'm a huge LeBron fan. Obviously, I was before he became a Laker. So, like, I'm not really even that used to him being a Laker. He's not, to me, he's not a Laker great anyway. He's LeBron James, and he's been hopping around from team to team for years now. So, it ain't that surprising. I knew we weren't going to have him forever.
Yeah. Let me see here. But that is actually all that I had as far as NBA news as of right now. Before we get into, like, the bias bubble and everything, I did... The Winter Olympics are officially over.
Yep. Got the medal
United
count?
States, we didn't come out on top as far as medal count. We came fourth
or second or third.
We came or third. Norway came out on top with 37 medals. Germany came second with 27. China had 15, and the USA. We came in fourth. I didn't show the number. It just says United States 4. But we didn't come out on top. You know, we have to wait till the Summer Olympics come out on top.
Yeah, we got, only 2 more years because I think they're going to just, even though they postponed them, you know, they were played last year, I think they're going to still try to do the other one in 2024 here. So, 2 more years. We'll get back on top. We win the one that counts. Okay?
We'll be back. Just wait until summer.
Just wait.
But we did mention at the beginning of the program, we will kind of check in with the NHL here. We haven't talked about the NHL since like kind of the beginning of the season, so we're going to kind of just do a little status update on the divisions here. The Atlantic Division, we got Florida on top, Tampa Bay second, Toronto third, Boston at 4. Metropolitan Division, we got Carolina, Pittsburgh, New York Rangers, and Washington. And then Central Division, we got Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota, and Nashville. And then in the last division, Pacific, Calgary number 1, the Vegas Golden Knights. Then you got Edmonton and LA Kings at 4 there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows what's going to be like going into the playoffs here? But I mean, Colorado and Florida, the top 2 teams in the league. Colorado is 36-10, and Florida is 35-11. There's a couple teams that only have 11 losses, but yeah, Colorado, they're killing it this season.
That's awesome, man. So, Boston's not doing too hot right now. It sounds, 4th in their own division, so they're probably not even doing that great. They might make the playoffs, but
yeah, you guys probably make them playoffs.
okay.
Them Flyers suck, man. They are terrible this year. Like the worst I've seen them in a while since I've really been following hockey. So I've kind of not paid attention to the Flyers, but I've been keeping an eye on hockey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like you said, we don't really touch on it too much here, but we do like to check in and kind of see what's going on.
Yeah. So with that said, we're gonna roll right into the bias bubble this week. I really don't have a lot here, Vern. So
I got some stuff.
Go ahead
here.
First.
Okay. So for my Lakers, since we were just talking about basketball there, Anthony Davis, bro, like, this wasn't even his fault. Did you see the video of the ankle injury? Like, he got messed up big time, but like, yeah, it's got me thinking, like, why does this always happen? Is it just because he's so big? Is it because like he takes up more area on the court? Like, why does he always get hurt? Like, is it like a height thing? Like with his, is there
a pattern to this?
There is a pattern, and I try to figure out why it's happening. You know what I mean? Ankle injury. AD will be reevaluated. Not will be back. Will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So,
jeez,
exactly, man. He's done for a long time.
It's not looking good for the Lakers season.
Good luck making the play-in tournament. That's what I'm hopeful for right now. Back to last year, like, I hope we make the play-in tournament. God. But apparently people internally, or not internally, people at Clutch Sports, which is the agency for AD, LeBron,
a ton of players, Zach LaVine's under Clutch Sports.
LaVine, like, apparently, and since they've come out and said no, there's no issues, but apparently they're like pissed with Rob Pelinka for not making the Russell Westbrook, John Wall deal. But
yeah,
it's since been refuted, but you know how these things are. Like, it probably wasn't supposed to be like leaked type of thing, or maybe it's just more or less trying to put some pressure on Pelinka to do something in the summertime here, while we still have a window, maybe, while you still have LeBron James, try to do something.
While LeBron wants to be there, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it was more, if it was true, it was probably just to put pressure on him,
that makes sense.
But apparently, this is in other news here. Apparently, we offered Boston a couple second-round picks for Dennis Schroeder.
To get him back?
Yeah, bro. Apparently, they tried to get him back, and they that deal didn't happen.
Already?
We offered a couple of second-round picks to get Dennis Schroeder back at the deadline, but that didn't happen either. You know how some of these reports are coming out with the failed trade proposals now. And then, in my last Lakers news, a Kobe Bryant card, okay, sold recently for $2 million. $2 million. What? This card, not signed, okay? Not game-worn jersey patch in there. You know what I mean? It's not anything like that. It's just a super rare card from 97, okay? So there was only 100 of these cards made in the first place. And cards 1 through 10 have a special green foil on the background of Kobe. Like, Kobe's in the picture, but the background's a green foil. And the other 90 cards, number 11 through 100, have a red foil, okay? These cards apparently are so rare because, 1, there's only 100 of them made. 2, there's only 10 of the green ones. It was a green one that sold for $2 million. And 3, they're super fragile. Apparently they stopped making them even because the foil made the cards so easy to just destroy. You could hold it in your hand. And they're super fragile. The one that sold, I don't know how much you know about sports cards, like, as far as the things go. The one that sold for $2 million was a Beckett 8.5. It wasn't even a 10. It wasn't even a 10 like gem mint or anything like that. It was a 8.5. You know what I mean? So that wasn't even in the best condition that it could have been, and it sold for $2 million. Now me, I got this Okay. This.
Got book cards.
Look at these. If anybody watches this video, tell me if any of these are worth anything. These are all Kobe Bryant cards. These are all. This one here, none of them are graded. You know what I mean? This one here, I've looked it up, is worth like $2,000. You know what I mean?
Jeez.
I'm gonna get it graded this year so I could know what it's worth. If it's a 6 or something, then it's not gonna be worth nothing really. Maybe a couple $100, but like, I have an entire sleeve of rookie Kobe cards, and then a bunch of other, from like a couple years prior or after that, after his rookie season. So
yeah,
if anybody watches this video, take a look. Tell me if any of them were super, super rare, But I just thought that was crazy, man. A Kobe card sold for $2 million, and that for me,
that is crazy.
That's great news because I have all these other ones. So like, hopefully they go up a little bit in value. Just to, obviously I'm not trying to take advantage of anything, But like, I'm so glad that I have these cards, and I'm gonna hang on to them as long as possible. And I hope they keep going up and up. Give it to Kyrie or something, or maybe sell it. Who knows? But like,
absolutely,
I just thought it was crazy,
That is nuts, man.
Apparently, the richest ever is like a LeBron with like $5 million. It's like a rookie LeBron with like a game patch or something and autographed, and then the second highest ever was a Michael Jordan All-Star game worn jersey patch autographed. So like, who else than the holy trinity there? Michael, LeBron, and Kobe, top 3 highest selling cards there. But
it was cool seeing MJ and LeBron dap up at the All-Star like ceremony, like the 75, because we didn't even mention that about like they brought the 70 top 75 players ever into the, like, they had like a little ceremony there. It was cool to see LeBron and MJ dapping up.
Yeah, and LeBron even said something really like cool about MJ. He's like talking about how he's always looked up to him and he paved the way, and like how the last shot of the game was an MJ fadeaway and just everything. I thought that was really cool with both of them there.
Yeah.
But as far as my Patriots here, okay, let's get to the real issue at hand. I know it's the off season, but this is the real issue at hand. Okay.
What's the issue?
So this week, I figure every week I'm gonna bring like a different like section of our team. Okay, so this week I'm hitting running backs. Okay, so running backs that we have coming back, we have Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, and JJ Taylor. Okay, free agents are James White and Brandon Bolden. Now, me personally, I love James White, but I think we can afford to let him walk. To be honest with you, like
maybe bring Sonny Michel back.
No,
he's a free agent.
Not unless we're paying him nickels, okay? I know he just won the Super Bowl, but like, get out of here. Like, we traded you in the first place. I love Sonny Michel too, don't get me wrong, but Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, and JJ Taylor, I think we will be fine as long as they can stay healthy for the most part throughout the year. I think we are great at running backs. Don't need to draft any, probably sign some free agents, but not big name free agent running backs. I think we'll be completely fine with this committee here. Apparently this is just projections, but we're projected to go after Juju in free agency.
Apparently, I heard that about some of the Birds too.
I would love that, man. I think he'd be a great fit. It's not somebody who's going to be a number one option, but he would be a great fit on the team there. Just the way we distribute the ball. Apparently we're gonna franchise tag JC Jackson as well. Like I said, that's why I wore this, because I'm praying that they do. Please don't let this man leave. We need this dude on our team, especially if we lose Devin McCourty, which I don't think he'll go play somewhere else. I think he'll retire if he leaves. But I'd be super sad if we lose McCourty as well. So we desperately need JC Jackson. And then heading into the draft here, I know we're weeks away from that, but the top needs for the Patriots are cornerback, JC Jackson, wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, and linebacker, because Dante Hightower is going to be a free agent. So, like, and Jamie Collins. So there's a lot of issues, a lot of holes that need filled. We'll see in the coming weeks what happens. Like I said, we got weeks and weeks and weeks before any real team formation is going to be seen. But those are just some of the needs that we have right now.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the draft, we are trying to do another live draft coverage here, at least for the first round, like we did last year too.
Right.
So be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, is that all?
But that
all you have?
That's all I had for my bias bill there.
Oh, okay. I really don't have anything as far as Eagles go. There really wasn't any Eagles news at all this week. But I do have some Bulls stuff here. Pretty much immediately after we did the show last week,
Yeah.
it was announced that Tristan Thompson had the buyout, and then he's signing with the Bulls. So the Bulls get pretty much like a backup center there for Vooch.
Pretty much right after the podcast, AD got hurt too, so that's why it's
it happened almost at the same time.
But exactly.
So I'm cool with Tristan Thompson coming to the Bulls because he's going to give us nice minutes off the bench because he's been pretty productive this year so far.
Yeah.
And I think he's only like 30 years old, so I think he's going to help us grab a lot of boards, which has been some trouble here with the Bulls as of late. And hopefully, once Caruso and Lonzo, they're supposed to come back here in the middle of March, hopefully. So once the team's fully healthy, I think, it's time for the playoffs. I think, the signing of Tristan Thompson is what they needed, to go into the playoffs. I was hoping we were going to get Dragic as well, but, obviously that didn't happen. And with signing Tristan Thompson, we waived Alfonso McKinney. So, I mean, he's out there, so anybody can pick him up as of right now. And Demar Derozan is now the first player in NBA history to post 7 straight 35-point games on 50% shooting or better. And he passed Wilt Chamberlain, and that's crazy.
That is
you don't hear that
crazy
very
stat.
often.
He's going to be in the record books now with a stat higher than Wilt Chamberlain, and not many people have that.
Yeah, not many people can say that. But other than that, that's pretty much all the news that I had. I did mention earlier that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan did play against each other in the Allstar game. That was pretty cool to see. They really didn't. Zach LaVine had a couple nice dunks. But they played pretty well, though. They didn't do anything crazy.
Awesome. And yeah, like we said, the All-Star game was awesome to see regardless, like all around. It was really good this year. Steph went off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you saw a lot of crazy stuff in the All-Star. You were seeing, like, lobs, and you were seeing, like, alley-oops and huge dunks and stuff. It was awesome. There was, like, very little defense played.
Yeah.
Until it was, like, the last couple seconds of each, quarter. But not much defense played. It was a lot of crazy, cool shots.
Exactly.
So we'll go right over to the crazy sports stat fact of the podcast here.
I actually have one this week, okay?
Oh, I'll let you do it this week then.
All right, so, and it celebrates the weird, I forget the word, it's like penendulum or whatever, I butchered it. I don't know what the word is for the way that the date is, you know what I mean? The way it's like the same front and back, you know what I mean?
I don't know what it's called.
But it's like, today, the day of recording this, not whenever it's released, but today is February 2nd, or February 22nd, 2022. So, like, it's just 22222, This is a super weird stat, and it involves your boy Andy Reid, okay?
And it's a Tuesday, by the way.
And it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday on the second month, 22nd day, 2022nd year on Tuesday. Okay, anyway.
Crazy.
Andy Reid's second Super Bowl win, okay, was his 222nd career victory, and it took place on February 2nd, 2020. So it's his second Super Bowl was his 222nd win overall, and it took place on 2/2/2020. I just thought that was
nuts.
Really weird. And that was 2 years ago now to this point here, but it all, like, the stars aligned type of thing, like, that's super weird. And I thought, what day
that is super weird,
better than this podcast here to give that stat,
that makes it even more crazy of a sports stat fact of the podcast. That is a very good one, man. That's nuts. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I just thought that was really cool.
Oh, Andy Reid. See if he can get another Super Bowl here next year.
We'll see.
But that is the show, of course. You know how we like to end it off. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to go check out all of our content across Waves 5 Media. We got a ton of content, coming out. We do have a new project coming up in the works, so be on the lookout for that. We'll talk about more on that to come in the future. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter at SquadPodSports. We are almost to 1,000 finally. We are close.
Yes.
We're getting up there. We're almost breaking 1,000, so help us out there. And make sure to, like and subscribe and tune in next week. We'll have a nice show for you.
Absolutely.
See everybody later.
Peace out.